Welcome to the Women Leaders Association podcast, where we believe we go further, faster, and have more fun when we go together. Be sure to tune in each week to hear an empowering message from the world's top women executives, trailblazers, entrepreneurs, and all-around fierce female leaders. I'm your host, Julianne Kirkland, and I will be taking you on a deep dive of each message to equip you with the principles, strategies, and tools you need to start crushing your goals, increasing your impact, creating work-life harmony, and did I mention have more fun? Because when you love what you do it better. The Women Leaders Association is the world's largest women executives association with over 30,000 women in executive and leadership positions who are committed to the development and advancement of women in the corporate arena. If you would like to get involved in a Women Leaders Association chapter, would enjoy daily podcasts, or you desire to become a part of the Women's Mastermind group near you, simply go to womenleaderspodcast.com. Now let's tune in for this incredible message. Leslie, welcome. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm honored. It's great to be here.
It's great. So talk a little bit about your journey into one, how you got to where you are and helping with, the extreme need of mental health, especially advocates. And where are you located?
I'm in Dallas, Fort Worth area. I'm in the Dallas area. Yeah.
But y'all do stuff kind of across, or is it in location?
Through the state of Texas, we do a lot of telehealth. The pandemic sort of changed the mental health space. So we do a lot of telehealth services as well.
It's so crazy too. Like, sidebar, the pandemic changed so much about mental health, not only in like how we receive help with it, but also in our awareness to what all is actually should be qualified in mental health. So anyway, that was just a sidebar. But
no, it's true. And, definitely we've seen an increase in people seeking services. So, I hate that we had a pandemic, but this has definitely been, a positive that the stigma of mental health has sort of decreased a lot in the last couple of years. So that's great.
Yeah. So talk about your journey to kind of getting where you are now, why you're passionate about it, and, what you kind of work through every day and what you see a lot of, especially in women leaders.
Yeah. Well, the journey started as a personal one. I sought services myself when I was in my 20s, suffered from anorexia, bulimia. And that's kind of where the journey started. Is once I got in recovery and felt stable, I was like, I really want to do this. I really want to help people understand that journey and how do they get in recovery, because I've been in recovery a little bit over 20 years. And not being afraid to ask for help, because that was the game changer for me. So I started out as a therapist. I worked in a school district for about 11 years and then switched into residential treatment and sort of became a leader by accident, because I kept telling everybody I wasn't going to do that, because I grew up in a house where my mom was a principal and my sister's in leadership, but got promoted and loved it and have just stayed in this space ever since. So I think this is the best profession to have. You genuinely get to see people change and transform. So, yeah.
I love that. And, I love that when you were growing up, you kind of had this image of what a leader was, that like authoritarian principal, afraid to go to the principal's office type. But the truth is, we all have influence, right? And that's all leadership is. And your story and the things that you've been through and the things that you've overcome in life has developed this magnetic influence that you possess. And like, that is leadership. And so no wonder you were promoted. No wonder that was seen in you, and you are now helping others to see that in themselves. That's such a cool thing. And so have you noticed that I have a brother that is an alcoholic, and in his recovery process, he realized so much of not asking for help was associated to the shame that he carried. Do you find that is kind of a big thing with getting help in mental health?
I think shame is a large part of it. I also think that sometimes I'm more comfortable where I am. And I know what that feels like,
right,
but I don't know what it feels like to be healed and whole. Yeah. And that's a whole nother level of scary. So I definitely have a lot of empathy and compassion I think asking for help in our culture is just sort of frowned on a little bit. Like, our culture is about independence and production. And so that feeling of stopping for a moment and asking for help is sometimes really scary.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think even just stopping for a moment can be really scary for people because, like you said, they get so comfortable in what they've always known, right? That's their security blanket. And it's a prickly one. Like it's one that you shouldn't want to hold on to, but it's what they know.
It is what they know. Also, I think, what will I survive it? I know that's been a lot of my journey is once I ask for help or I get help, am I going to survive the pain that it's going to be brought forth? Am I going to survive the trauma that I need to process? And so that also can be just a really scary reason people don't get help.
Yeah. So what are some of the, tools and techniques that you can offer to the woman like listening right now? And she's like, and this is exactly why I don't want to get help. Like, I'm terrified. Maybe she is a CEO. Maybe she's a mother. Maybe she's, just out there trying to live her best life and just not quite where she wants to be. What pieces of advice would you give to that woman who's like, I want to ask for help, but just to your point, like to have to process through all that is terrifying to go back to what I think I've already come over?
I would say you can't have both. So, one of the things in the wisdom I've gained even within myself is that, unless I'm able to go through it and experience the pain, then I'm never going to know what joy feels like. Because always on that side of dark, the other side is light. And so just having faith in that light, that there's hope on the horizon, and not being afraid to just tell a friend that you're struggling. It doesn't necessarily have to be a therapist. Just tell another woman. I think sometimes as a woman, we're afraid to look bad. Like, I don't want to call somebody and tell them I need help, but it's that vulnerability that connects all of us together, So picking up the phone and finding a good therapist can be life-changing.
Yeah.
It has been for me. I will say that it has been for me.
Yeah. So what do y'all offer in your company that helps really kind of bridge that gap from where people are now struggling, hurting, fearful, confused, all of that, to healed and freedom? And like, how do y'all navigate those waters?
Well, we offer child and family guidance offers across the board. So one of the things I'm really excited about that I hope changes the landscape of mental health is having same day mental health access. So you can call us and get in the same day. Yeah. So in that moment of crisis, sometimes I'm afraid and I call, and then 2 weeks before somebody calls me back, and then I think, okay, I'm going to back out of this. Yeah. So you can come in the same day. The other thing is we don't just offer therapy and med management. We also do skills training. So what are the skills I need to deal with burnout? What are the skills I need to help with parenting? So we can actually come out to your home and do those kinds of things. Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible and so needed. Oh, I mean, all of it is so needed.
It is so needed. It is so needed. And I wish more people wouldn't be afraid and would just access, what's available to them. Right. Sometimes just looking for what's available,
Yes. I mean, that just in general life, that is a great skill to have of asking yourself, okay, in this moment, what's available to me? Instead of always going to this is the struggle, this is the hard stuff, this is the problem. But what's available to me right now? Can I see another way?
Well, I think we're wired that way. I think we're wired for survival. And we don't realize that we don't have to always be in survival mode. Yeah. That we can be at peace and we can find joy. And that is part of the human experience. And that you're worthy of that. Yes. That you deserve to have healing. You deserve to feel at peace.
Yeah. Yeah. No matter what you've been through, and I think that's something that people hold on to as well. And it's just what you've done, your past circumstances, your past habits does not get to determine your future.
Absolutely not. And I think holding empathy and compassion for yourself is actually the first step.
Yeah.
Loving those parts of you that are kind of messy. And that's what unconditional love is.
Yeah.
And we don't learn unconditional love. Everything's very conditional on performance and how successful you are. Yeah. That when it comes back to focusing on me and what does that look like, we tend to struggle with that.
Yeah. I mean, I see that a lot in coaching, high performers, is that achievement-based worthiness. I'm worthy when, once I've accomplished this, then I will feel blank. No. That's as you are right here, right now. You're worthy, my friend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. And I think we forget to enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
And I would say the same thing about healing is I think it's a journey worth taking. It's a journey worth, really being committed to. It's also a game changer for generations and for your kids. It changes what happens in the future, for your kids and your kids' kids and your grandkids. Because a lot of things we know about trauma is it's intergenerational. It's just carried from one generation to the next. The same with addiction. Yes. So, you being the one is probably the bravest thing that you could ever do.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, that's such a good point because, I hear again so often that it is what it is. No, it isn't.
It really isn't. It really isn't. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had a conversation with somebody. It was kind of a similar conversation where they were having some struggles in their relationship. And they said, well, I guess this is just the way it is. And I said, absolutely not. Yeah. You deserve happiness. You deserve to be in a good place.
Yes, absolutely. And it is. I love that when y'all offer that same day help, because to your point, it's like when you're in those moments where you finally have the self-awareness and the self-love to say, okay, I need to get help. And then you're to call a therapist. Okay, well, we can get you in next month. It's like
it goes away and it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful to get to do that at this company and just seeing it blossom and seeing it grow, that because people deserve good health care, regardless of your income, regardless of your status in life. We all deserve to feel stable and at peace.
Yes. And two, back to the shame part that we were talking about is when women are in a high position of leadership, of authority, and that, they have a team looking up to them and they feel like, oh, I can't be seen as weak, or I can't have any kind of mental health things going on. I can't be working through any. That's a bunch of baloney.
Oh, absolutely. And, it's funny because I will be really vulnerable with my team sometimes because, I take medication for ADD, got diagnosed about 15 years ago. And I will say to them, look, I can be scattered sometimes. So you're going to have to remind me. But I also think that makes your team respect you. Yeah. Because you're not, you're sort of leveling the playing field, that it's okay to not come into your job being perfect. Yes. Nobody wants perfect. We want growth. And that's really what we're looking for.
Right. And to your point, I feel like I have always related to, people in higher positions than me, as I was growing in my fields and things, when they would be able to relate with me, when they weren't perfect, that's not something I strive for because it's not realistic to obtain. And so it's like when you share those vulnerable moments and those struggles and those obstacles in your path and say, this is what I'm doing to overcome that. That's when people go, huh, okay. Well, she looks like she's got it all together, but she's still working on some stuff. Nobody has it all together, people. I'm just going to drop that in here right now.
No. And one of the things you learn in recovery is a lot of times we will compare our insides to other people's outsides. Yes. We will look and think, oh man, that person has it together. They're confident. They know what they're doing. But one of my favorite sayings is we're all bozos on the bus. And I believe that's so true. I mean, we're all trying to figure it out. And I think sometimes that trait of empathy is really important in the workspace, understanding where people are coming from so that you can help them grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so important because it is more than just the workspace. I mean, who you are as a leader, as a woman of influence, to hold empathy and hold safe space for other people is so powerful. But it's not only going to help you in your job and you with, manage a team and all of that. It's going to help you in who you are as a person and how you hold other relationships, because, what you do in one thing is what you do in everything. And so really being like, am I this person? Because no, people are going to take it personally. It's not just business. You're dealing with people,
human beings.
It don't matter. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because it was the trait that I hated most in myself for a long time, was the empathy. And then once I learned, pairing empathy with boundaries, it is the place that you need to sit, especially in the workplace. We all want to feel understood.
Yeah, absolutely. In life.
Yes.
In life, Leslie, we all want to feel understood.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but it's so important too that you touched on the point of boundaries. Again, working with high achieving women, I hear that a lot. I feel like I have to do again.
That we have to do it all. And we don't. And that's the thing. And it's so funny because I know early in my leadership journey, I would say yes to everything. I would take everything on. I would try to be savior and get burned out. And then kind of be the martyr where I'm like, see, look at me. I'm the only one working hard. And what I've realized is if I don't take care of myself, then I am no good for anybody else.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. And it's so important. So as we come to a close, give a couple of ways in which you do that. Like how would you encourage another woman listening right now to kind of start that journey for herself on, maybe 3 things that she can start today to really start taking care of herself and seeing herself maybe with a new perspective?
Well, the first thing I do is I have a really regular meditation practice. I sit with myself.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm the most creative and the most calm and the less anxious. And YouTube has all kinds of like 1-minute meditation. So I'll even do those sometimes during the day.
Yeah.
The second thing I do is I pull back a little bit before I react. I think, is this something I have to take care of right now? What do I need in this moment? And we don't ask ourselves, okay, what do I need? Well, I need water. So I'm going to go get some water. I need to take a lunch break. I need to get up from my desk and walk around a little bit. So I've started asking myself those questions, and it's been really helpful. And then also connection. I think relationships in the workplace are so important. So even just having somebody that you can connect to, I'm lucky because, my partner that works next door, I'll just go over to him and go, okay, I'm frustrated and this is why. And that's really, made a difference. And I think we've lost some of that in the pandemic. So I would say connection is so important to healing. We need other people.
We do. I fully agree with that. And, 2 people that, used to be in office all the time and be able to converse back and forth. And now they're at home, and there's great things about being at home. And, so what are ways that people could still connect in the online space?
I think you even could make a coffee date once a week with a coworker and get out of your home. And if you can't do that, pick up the phone instead of sending an email or a text. I do that because people want to hear your voice. I know we've gotten to where I don't want to answer the phone. I don't want to talk to people, but I will tell you that is not good for your mental health. Connection is really important.
It's true.
It isn't good for our mental health. Spending so much time online, not good for our mental health. So, really finding places where you can connect with other people and then having fun at work. I don't think work has to be so serious all the time. Have fun, enjoy what you're doing. Life is too short. Enjoy the people around you.
Absolutely. I mean, that is fire advice. Like that's next level. And it seems so simple. And sometimes it is the simple things that make life and the hard things you go through worthwhile.
Mm-hmm.
You can find joyful moments in your day if you look for them.
Absolutely. Joke around with your team. Enjoy talking about what you're going to do this weekend. We don't have to be so go, go, go all of the time. And I think that's when we burn out and we feel anxiety and depression and we struggle because we're not taking that space to find joy and to find peace.
Yeah. And it's like we're suppressing part of who we are.
Absolutely. I could talk a whole other podcast on that, but it's true. Because what happens then when we're go, go, go is we stop the creativity. And I tell people that all the time, we are creative human beings, and creativity can't exist if we're not taking the moment to sit with ourselves and think, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. This has been so great and so helpful. I know so many women will be blessed by it, Leslie. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been so fun.
Good. Is there any way that they can connect with you online?
Yeah. So look us up on Child and Family Guidance Centers, where our primary office is located in Dallas off of Harry Hines. So you can get on there and call our main number and schedule an intake. We'd be happy to have you and grateful to work with you and your family.
I love it. That's awesome. And we'll be sure to put that link in the show notes for you ladies to be able to have access to. Leslie, again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Julianne.
To Leslie's point, if you are looking to be connected further with a chapter in your area, be sure to log on to womenleaderspodcast.com and find a chapter near you. Thanks for now. Bye-bye.
Thank you.